Awesome. I
Okay.
think we are recording. We are
All right.
officially on the go. All right. So, in case you guys don't notice by just looking at the screen here, he knows what he's doing. I don't. All right. Adam Scheibel. Was it again?
Shibly.
Scheibly. The E at the end is what gets me every time. Um, I met Adams a few months ago at Keto Summit Omaha.
Yep.
Kind of got introduced to what he's doing with the Million Pound Mission, and a little bit of his story. And in the vein of what I'm trying to focus on with getting people to understand that you can do it from where you are. And that's what it's all about, is starting where you are and getting into that fitness journey and just doing something. I want to talk about your story a little bit, Adam, kind of find out what you're doing now, where you came from, what your mission is. Well, I definitely want to talk about Million Pound Mission, get
Yeah.
some exposure to that. So just give us a little background real quick. What are you doing now? And then we can talk about kind of how you got to this point.
Well, first off, thanks, Bronson, for sharing your
Yeah.
platform here with me, man. It's always an honor to pop onto chats like this and hang with awesome dudes like yourself. But like right now, I am a podcaster. I'm an online entrepreneur. I'm a
Mhm.
recovering gym owner.
I totally relate to that.
And I've got a show called The Million Pound Mission where I pop on there and I really, to me, the Million Pound Mission is all about community and making sure people don't feel like they're in it alone. So as you know, there's a lot of people out there that are like, especially males, I got myself into this mess, got to get myself out of this mess.
Yep. Yep.
And there's that pride of, I've lost 30 pounds over and over and over again and gained it back. I should be able to do this on my own by now. These are the things that I know people are telling themselves. So I'm out there to kind of myth bust those things that we are talking about and show people that community is important, and bringing people into my community that I call the Mission Possible community. We just supply resources for people, and I talk about it on a weekly basis. I interview awesome people, and we chat about things that we should be doing out there to get healthier. And that's where we're focused right now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I think that's the biggest, maybe not the biggest frustration, but a frustration with being a coach and owning a gym and working with people, is everybody wants to do it by themselves, and it's really hard to kind of, I don't know what it is about fitness or health. If my car breaks down, I go to a mechanic. If my plumbing breaks at my house, I call a plumber. But if I have heart disease or diabetes or something like that, I can do it myself. Like
I got to figure it out.
Yeah. Go get help like you would anything else in your life,
Yep.
And it's the most important aspect. I'd rather you work on your plumbing by yourself than work on your heart disease or something by yourself, or
100%.
trying to lose weight. So awesome. So where did the Million Pound Mission come from? Like, what is the motivation for that? And what's the story behind how that started?
Yeah, man, we've got one heck of a story. It started 12 years ago, back in 2000, and well, now it's 13 years ago, 2007. I was at kind of my rock bottom moment. I weighed 327 pounds. I was not happy with the way my life was going. I had a bunch of debt that I'd racked up. I was kind of circling the drain of just loserness in life. And I had never really invested in myself.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of just going through the motions like a lot of people do. They just like get the next paycheck, do the next thing, go through the motions. And I had a friend that lent me a DVD called The Secret, The Law of Attraction. And it was sitting on my DVD player back in the age of DVD. And it was collecting dust. There was like an inch of dust on that. And this is actually the second time that this piece of information had come into my life. The first time I pretended to watch it and I gave it back because I didn't need that mumbo jumbo. Things continue to get worse. And then it showed up again. I was like, okay, I don't know why I feel like I'm supposed to watch this.
Yeah.
So I did. I watched it, and that was my first dose of personal growth material ever.
Right.
Like other than Sports Illustrated Swimsuit Edition. That was the only thing I read previously. So
that is awesome. Okay.
So the whole law of attraction thing, that was new to me, because at that point in time, like I know some people that may be watching, I felt like I wasn't in control of anything that was going on in my life. I didn't have any personal responsibility. It was always someone else's fault.
Yep.
And that helped me flip the switch of, okay, I need to change my mindset first. And then I need to change the way that I act in line with what I want to achieve. And I can actually control my destiny, which is just like the light bulb went off. And it was just crazy. It's
that thing. And I'll just try to summarize it without getting too much into the law of attraction, but it's that idea of, if like I was first introduced to the idea years ago, when I was in Amway. Right. I used to sell Amway Quick Start. This is like way back in the day.
Yeah.
And one of the guys in my upline who was talking to me about, the same thing, it's that, what you focus on is what happens, right? Bring your
Yep.
reality to light. And he used the analogy. He says, when you're going to buy a car, once you find a car, you go out and you look at a bunch of cars. Once you find a car that you like, and you say, that's the car that I think I want, you start seeing that car everywhere. Everywhere you go, oh, I want to get this car. I want to get that color. And then how does everybody have this car? Maybe I don't want this car. Like, it's like, wait a second, this
Yeah.
car's everywhere. But that's because our brain kind of focuses in on the things that we think about. The things that we focus on is where kind of our life just kind of starts bringing things together. It's a really weird phenomenon, but
Yeah. And it's like, it's a real thing. And to me, I watched this DVD, and a lot of people, like, there are like quantum physics theorists and all these people, and it can be pretty woo woo out there.
Yeah.
But the way I took it was like, with my mindset before, it was like I was standing in a dark hallway and I couldn't see if a door opened in front of me or not.
Okay.
And once I flipped the switch to a more positive mindset and knowing what I wanted to achieve, it was like the light switch being turned on, and I could see opportunity in front of me and I could act in line with that.
That's
and
awesome.
Now when I teach this, I tell people, like, you cannot spell attraction without action. There has to be implementation in line with what you set those goals. You can't just sit and hope and dream and wish it. You have to act every day. And that's what I did. So I created this little document that I teach people and coach people on now that I call my lifestyle rehabilitation statement. And It was basically affirmations written in present tense. I mapped out my life that I wanted to achieve over the next 5 years, from July 7th of 2007 to July 7th of 2012. I set a deadline. It was all positive, and I set a rule of implementation. I said, okay, I've got to read this and feel it and be it every morning and every night. Every morning, it sets the tone. It opens my eyes for what I'm looking for. Every night, it's accountability. Did I do something to move the needle 1% in the right direction today? Whether it's a little workout, I drank some water, I ate healthy, I got a sweat going, I read a blog, I talked to somebody about a job opportunity, put myself out there in a relationship. I had to do something every single day. Those are the rules. So over the 5-year time span, I did this. I implemented. That's always been my superpower, is implementation. Like, I will go after stuff.
Yeah.
So over 5 years, every morning, every night, never missed a day, took action in line with it, ate healthy, started sweating, ended up losing over 100 pounds. And as I did that in my community, people started to ask me, what are you doing? Can you help me? I ended up starting a little boot camp program, which ended up being a gym, which ended up helping 15 people in my hometown lose over 100 pounds, which over that awesome 5-year time span, from July 7th of 2012 to July 7th, July 7th, 2007 to 2012, we did 35,000 pounds of weight loss in my community. Just, putting people on there, eating clean, getting them sweaty, and tracking it, and that power of community. Exactly.
Right. It's not, it doesn't have to be killing yourself every time, right?
Exactly. And it was, I'm in the Midwest. It's a lot of just very hometown, not fancy people. There's like, okay, if Adam can do it, if my neighbor can do it, I can do it. And we just helped so many people. And that's what spurred on the $1 Million Mission, where I'm like, I just want to bring these concepts to as many people as possible, because it's not about, this diet is better than that diet. I feel like there's a lot in our space, a lot of energy spent on trying to be the most correct. And I feel like, you know what I'm saying? And instead of like, okay, we're all very correct, but it's more about probably what we aren't eating. That's the key. Like that's the real key. What we aren't doing, what we're avoiding. And I teach those principles with the podcast. And now people can listen to episodes. They, get a result. Maybe they lose 7 pounds. They go on the website and they donate that weight, and they see the ticker go up, and we're at 56,000 pounds donated by podcast listeners from listening to the show. So we're actually tracking this 1 million pounds, which is fun. And you'll appreciate this, Bronson. When I had my first studio, it was directly across the street from a McDonald's. And you know, McDonald's has that like billion served or whatever. So we put up a sign, and every time we did another 1,000 pounds of weight loss, we're like over 1,000 pounds, over 10,000 pounds.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it was like dueling billboards with McDonald's across the street. And and there was rumors that I had a paintball gun sniper on the roof of McDonald's, just in case anybody decided to cross the street. And I won't confirm or deny that.
Right? That's fantastic, man. Give me a little bit more info about your history. So you said you were You lost, how much did you say you lost? You lost
Ended up being like 109 pounds.
109 pounds. Okay. But, and you started, were you always overweight? Did you grow up being overweight? Were you an athlete in sports? Like what's your kind of history of
Yeah.
managing your weight and stuff like that?
Well, that's an important question too. It's actually something I don't get a huge opportunity to talk about many times. So, grew up Indiana playing basketball. So I was super active. I was playing basketball, 90 times a week, just every team, every traveling team. I was decent. I was good at basketball. So I'd play all stars and, year round. So I
Nice.
was
Okay.
burning a ton of calories. I graduated high school. I weighed like 185 pounds.
Yep.
But my junior and senior year of high school, our team hired a strength coach, and I fell in love with lifting weights. Like
Okay.
just fell head over heels with
I,
the
yeah,
iron.
I know the feeling, man. My last 2 years of high school were, I had 2 hours a day of weight training. It was amazing.
Yeah, and I had a great mentor, a guy, Big Doug Ballard from the Iron Pit Gym here locally in Bloomington, Indiana, and he competed in powerlifting at a national level. And in college, I decided not to play basketball. I stayed here locally, so I interned at the gym. And he's like, "You should start competing in powerlifting with us." So I was like, "This is awesome."
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so two things happened. I started lifting weights and kind of growing and gaining good weight, good muscular weight. My metabolism ramped up, but I also quit doing all of that cardio that I was doing. Then
Yeah.
I got access to the food court swipey cards. It was like my parents are paying for it. Yes, 10 tacos and
Right.
pizzas. And so each year in college, I competed in powerlifting. I would kind of justify like, oh, I'm still working out, although I would take, half an hour between every squat set and eat a pizza or whatever.
Yeah.
But I gained about 20 to 25 pounds every year in college. And I was moving up in weight classes and competing, but just
Right.
getting more and more unhealthy, strong, but unhealthy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I started competing in like Scottish Highland Games and all that. And, I was a top level, Highland Games athlete. But I remember I was competing in Estes Park, Colorado. Last competition I did, I just felt terrible because the altitude, like how just unhealthy I was. My blood
Yeah.
pressure was out of whack. And just, I was 327 pounds and, strong, but just, not
Wow.
feeling healthy at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'd walk upstairs and be like, oh my God, I'm going to die. So that was it, man. I left all my equipment there, all my stuff. And when I came back, that was kind of the same time I got back that next week, found the whole law of attraction thing, and everything just fell in line with that.
Awesome.
At that time I was strength coaching. I dropped all my strength coaching clients. I was working with a lot of high school athletes and I was just felt like a babysitter, so
Mm-hmm.
I started just flip the switch towards let's get people healthy. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Let's get everybody else doing it. And that's the path I've been on ever since.
Yeah. And I love that part of it where you were an athlete, you were competitive, and people probably looked at you and said, man, that guy's so strong. He's in good shape, blah, 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 whatever. But you really weren't. Like the picture of what people see and equate to health versus what health actually is so just missing a lot of times. And you don't know, just because there's a couple lessons probably to be learned from that, right? Just because you see somebody who looks good on Instagram doesn't necessarily mean that they're in shape or that they're healthy, right? You can have a six pack and not be healthy, right?
Yeah.
You can bench 500 pounds and not be healthy. You're strong, but you could still have diabetes. You could still have all these other issues, hormone imbalances, and who knows what. Bodybuilders are, I don't know a single bodybuilder who, especially getting ready for competition. I take it back. I know one, that'd be Rob, because he doesn't have that, right? Because he doesn't have to worry about it. But particularly the high carb bodybuilders, their hormone issues and the things that they do with their body and the way that they lift and work out and muscle imbalances and all the things that they've got going on. They're strong, they're ripped, they're jacked. But when they're done with the competition, when they decide, hey, I'm not going to bodybuild anymore, they've got years of recovery ahead of them. Right. Okay. That's awesome, man. So Highland Games, that is what, throwing logs and stones and all that kind of stuff, right?
I mean, it was fun and it was right up my alley because we'd start drinking Guinness at about the third event. Like the big ones, like those big yard. We drank it by the yard, Bronson.
Oh man,
yeah.
Man.
So
Okay.
yeah, you wear the kilt, you go out there, we throw the caber, the stone, the 56 pound weight for distance and for height. But you have to be a big boy to do that, to compete at a national level. It's important to be big.
Didn't Sean Baker Do
Yeah.
Highland stuff? Did you guys
Yeah.
ever cross paths doing
We
that?
probably did because we
Okay.
know the same people. We started, we shared an Uber. So this is a great story from the event that I'm in the back seat of an Uber. And it's me and Sean Baker in the back seat with Rachel Gregory smashed in between us. And I don't think she was super comfortable. But yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm 6'3". He's like 6'7". And I'm 225 pounds and he's, whatever he is. And
Yeah,
like Rachel is sandwiched right in between us. Yeah, that was awesome.
that's
But
awesome.
yeah, we competed with a lot of the same people. We recognized a lot of names. So I'm sure that we were at the same event at some point.
That's cool. That's cool. It's crazy. The fitness world is so small
Yep.
at times. All right. So how long did it take you from the time that you said, "Hey, I'm going to start doing this"? You said it was a 5-year plan. Did it actually take you 5 years to lose 100 pounds, or like what's the?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
did.
I mean,
Okay.
it was a 5-year journey. And that's something that people on a weight loss journey, as you know, they gained it over 40 years and they want to lose it in 2 weeks,
Yeah. Yep.
or one 8-week boot camp. Why am I not back to what I looked like in
Yeah.
high school, Bronson? And it's just, my story, I was patient with it. I was like, if I'm just heading in the right direction, it was that 1% rule. Did I get 1% better and
Yep.
in the direction I want to head today? If
Yep.
I did, then good. And that's probably my other superpower is I take that weight off my shoulders of like, okay, as long as I'm moving in the right direction, that's the most important thing. What really sucks is what I refer to as that black hole of weight loss doom, where it's just that cycle of back and forth, or we do a new program, we get results, life happens, crash and burn, around and around and around we go. And that's called a lot of wasted time, effort, and energy. And we give
Yeah.
up eventually.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I think the understanding for people. I love what you said about it took you 40 years to get there. It's not going to happen in a year, right?
Yeah.
You can make changes. You can make a lot of changes in your life in a year, but you may not necessarily see the result from those changes right away, right? Because it's about habits, it's about lifestyle, it's about how am I going to change what I do every day, not just what am I going to do for the next 8 weeks to lose 50 pounds,
Yeah.
right? There's that mindset shift. We got to get people to understand that it's going to take time and that's okay.
Yes.
It doesn't have to happen overnight. And honestly, if it happens too quickly, that's not good either, right?
Yeah.
Right. We don't want people having issues. You can have almost, I'd say just as many issues losing weight too fast and trying to change things too much. That could be more detrimental mentally
Yeah.
than if you take your time with it.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about some things that you learned or kind of lessons, let's talk about nutrition first. What was your nutrition plan? What did you do nutrition wise to say, okay, I'm changing X, Y, or Z? Was it a jump in the pool in the deep end in the middle of winter kind of thing? Or was it a toe in the water first? Like, what did you do there?
All right. So I love this question, Bronson, because I love to make this comparison. And I feel like your audience will already be able to figure out like what the answer is here. But I like to compare two people because again, like I alluded to earlier, there's a lot of energy wasted with trying to be the most right in the nutrition
Yep.
space, especially. Yep. So I describe two people. I say, all right, person A, they eat 5 meals a day. They have whole grains. They eat things like quinoa. There's a lot of protein and, whatever. And then there's person B that eats 2 meals a day, only meat and a very high fat ratio and 0 carbs. And I'm like, who do you think is healthy? And the answer is, well, the first person was the plan. They're both me. That's a spoiler. They're both me.
Yeah.
The first person is what I used to lose 100 pounds. And the second person is what I do now to kind of just optimize and feel the best that I can.
Sure.
And neither one is wrong. That's
right.
That's the thing is people are like, you shouldn't eat carbs ever. And I'm like, well, if we're going from standard American diet and we just start walking a little bit and just clean out things like alcohol and processed sugar. I mean, that's what I did. I was like, I'm not going to eat sugar.
Yep.
I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to eat those little things that come in a package, like the lean cuisines that I was eating for snacks 5 times a day. Like that, those are all going out and I would just try to sweat every day. And that's the base. And I got under 300 pounds. I have to admit my initial, you're going to love this. This is a total like meathead talk. So I'm convinced that every guy that weighs over 300 pounds is convinced that they get under 300 pounds, they will see their abs. Like that's like I just know it. If I can just get these 27 pounds off, I'm going to be jacked. And then there's an image that I'll show, like when I present at KetoCon, I call it my MySpace dating image. It was I first got under 300 pounds. I thought I looked good, and it's like the belly is just hanging out there, and it was like, "Hey, how's it going? Hey there, ladies." But I was like, "Damn, it's still fat," and so I had to like keep going from there. But I was just eating clean though, and sweating. It wasn't, Russian periodized, ultra, synchronized training or anything like that. I wasn't, digging up special herbs off the Mount Olympus to take or anything like that. It was just like, get rid of the crap and sweat. And that started, and do it consistently. Consistency is the key, man. Consistency over time. That's the recipe, bro. Like that's the deal if you want to get in shape.
Yeah. And consistency over time, and not, I'll just say this to you. I'll say this to anybody watching. If you mess up, it's okay. If you have a plan and you get off plan for a day or two, it's okay. Just get back on plan, right? It's that bell curve of time. It's not any one particular, just because you say, you know what, I went to a party and I had a slice of cake, doesn't mean you're done and you have to stop from there, right? That's like you're driving on the road and you get a flat tire, you pull over and then you pop your other 3 tires. It doesn't make any sense, right? Fill that tire up and get back on the road and keep going. Like it's okay.
Yeah.
There was a point, there's something you were talking about, and it just left my head.
One thing about having a plan that I love to remind people is that we stress out a lot about whether we're on plan or off plan. Like, oh, I fell off my keto plan, or I'm on my keto plan, or I'm whatever. And I tell people, screw that. Like, I don't care whether you're on plan or off plan. Most people don't have a plan. Like they just are randomly floating around like, oh, today I am keto. And then I hear a podcast on Wednesday. I'm like, need to go Weight Watchers, and let's add in some intermittent fasting on Friday. And then cheat days the rest of the time because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And so I don't care whether you're on plan or off plan. The first step is having a plan mapped out. I love like a good 28-day cycle. What are we doing for the next 28 days? Let's commit. Nutrition, fitness. Right. When are we working out? When are those booked? Who are you working out with? Let's map things out. And let's just go in a simple 28-day flow. Let's see what happens. And then we can make adjustments from there. But 99% of people, as you know, Bronson, like they just don't have a plan. We are trying lots of things. Like I'm trying keto, I'm trying CrossFit, I'm trying this personal trainer, I'm trying the boot camp, I'm trying jazzercise. Oh, Lord help us. Hopefully you're not trying jazzercise. But no, that's okay too. If you sweat, you sweat.
It's better than sitting on a couch, right?
Exactly. But the key is you've got to have a game plan and then be committed to that and act in line with that consistently again over time. Right. That's the key.
Right. Yeah. I wanted to go back to the variances in all the different ways, right? You were talking about person A, person B. I can't stress enough how important it is that it's making a change forward. It doesn't have to be, and it's hard for me because a lot of what I do is fitness, but I'm a carnivore. I do talk about that stuff a lot, and I've been accused many times by followers, friends, of demonizing carbs, of telling people they shouldn't have, it's going to kill them, carbs are bad, blah 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 blah, and it's hard to send the message of the importance of one thing without making the other thing look bad sometimes. Yeah. So being able to kind of talk about, look, I work with clients and I say, hey, if you want to have carbs, that's fine. Here's how we're going to fit it into your plan, right? I personally choose not to do it. That doesn't mean you don't have to. If you really want to have those veggies or this potato or this rice or whatever else, we can do that. You need to understand what it's going to do to you, how it's going to affect you towards your goal, et cetera, but it's your decision. Have a blast. If it's something you want to do, go for it. Yeah. If it's going to help you sustain and be more consistent, then why would I say no? Like that just doesn't make any sense, right?
Yeah. There are a lot of people that trip over the thought of being optimal when they aren't even started yet. Like you can't, and with nutrition protocols, I kind of view it like an education system, and something like, you could take two polar opposites, like being vegan and being carnivore. Those are, quote unquote, restrictive protocols. Right. Like there's things that are taken out. That's kind of like college master's level stuff, and a lot of people will struggle if they've never eaten healthy before. You know,
Right.
some will nail it, but a lot of it is just like, let's walk before we run and let's build up and then use the right tool for the right job. Because who knows, 10 years ago, I didn't know what the hell carnivore was. I didn't know. Well, I never thought of that, but you learn things are developed. Like nutrition is moving at the speed of light, the speed of the internet. So who knows? We don't need to plant our flag in the ground and be like, can't carnivore forever, man. Because something new and better and more efficient might come along. That's the beauty of the human race. We continue to evolve and get smarter. So we don't have to have that camp mentality, I don't think.
I love it. I love it. I like that analogy to college. I'm going to write that one down. College. It's like, because it really is like, and just thinking about that on my process, right? When I first started, and here's the classic transition, right? People go Whole Foods, they go paleo. They do that for a while. They learn more. They start following different people. They start listening to more. Maybe I'm going to try keto now. Then they go keto for a little bit. And then, I learn a little bit more. Oh, wait, let me try carnivore. Like, it's just that progression. As you get more information, as you start getting used to living a healthier lifestyle, then you're able to make changes because you understand the benefit of different things and how they affect your life. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. And people have great stories with that. Like, the key is not getting stuck in the camp. Like, for some reason, people are like, I'm on team paleo. I can't go keto because I don't believe in that. And my friends don't believe in that. And it's like even stuff like I consider, and different fitness people have different opinions. Like, I have clients that do Weight Watchers, and I'm like, that's kind of like a starting level thing.
Yep.
I wouldn't recommend doing it forever to be optimal, like, especially if you're, trying to be super fit or lean or whatever, like, but much better than the standard American diet still.
Right.
And, or just cutting out sugar. Like, let's just not eat sugar for a while. And that's not beat those people up. That's the thing is, keto, your Weight Watchers loser, it doesn't have to be that way at all. Well,
it's the same thing at the gym, right? If you see a guy who's super overweight who can just walk on the treadmill and can't run, you're not going to make fun of him. You're not going to go in the gym and be like, oh my God, you're just on the treadmill. You're not lifting weights. Like, he's there doing something. Give him his props. You know what I mean? Like, if you're doing something, you're doing something. That's everybody deserves credit for that.
Yep.
All right. So that's your kind of nutrition. What about you went from powerlifting to Highland Games to doing a lot of stuff. Did you get into more HIIT stuff, functional fitness? Like, what'd you do from a fitness perspective to kind of make
change? I've been across the board. I love experimenting with fitness protocols. Like, I just love it. And that's why I love diving into your stuff and the fit and fab method and all that. Like, I just love learning different styles. I did a lot of HIIT. I started sweating a hell of a lot more. I made friends with the Stairmaster. Getting a 327-pound dude up, and like, not the Stairmaster, the rotating staircase of death. Yeah. And then I found Jacob's Ladder. Oh my God. I snapped rungs on Jacob's Ladder, man. Really? Like, I was so big, I would stomp and just chop it right off. I did it twice. It sucked. But things like that, man, that was my jam for a while. And then got into a lot of, I started boot camp classes, so I'd jump in with that. But I've always had a strength training base, and I feel good about that, whether it's, doing like 5x5 stuff. I love Jim Wendler's 5-3-1 method. I love that protocol and all the different new methods he's come off of that. Just having a little bit of periodization, having some percentages to work with, just to keep me from hurting myself mainly. Otherwise, I'm like, just put more on the bar and lift it. But having like, okay, you should be 80% for 5 reps here. Okay, that makes sense. And just having some stuff there, starting strength, all those methods. I've dabbled in all that, but pretty much every week I'm doing some form of like a pull or a deadlift. I'm doing some sort of like an overhead press. I do a lot of pull-ups, a lot of dips, squatting, and then I get out and sweat. I have sleds that I push. Here in the pod bunker, I've got a 10-foot commute to my squat rack. So that's good. Nice. Sleds right there. And now my 9-year-old son is getting involved, and he's working out. And if you guys watch my Instagram stories, you'll see Henry on there doing, like form deadlifts and pull-ups and stuff like that. Awesome. It's awesome, man.
It's awesome getting your kids into it.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. My son is 17, and he just sent me some messages the other day. He's like, Dad, they live out of state. And he's like, Dad, I'm interested in working out a couple months ago. So I sent him some programs, and he came down for a visit, and we worked out together. And it's like, dude, I wish I could, like, it's the best workout partner, right? You're teaching, but you're also getting to experience him doing things for the first time. And it's awesome. Fantastic. It's fantastic.
Yeah. My son, He's a third grader, and he set a goal to be able to do a body weight pull up before he's in fourth grade.
Oh, nice.
And just awesome. And if you guys watching, if you have younger kids, there's a great book series by Jocko Willink. It's called Warrior Kid. Just reading along with that, Henry got in because they talk about a kid that's kind of getting picked on and stuff, having a rough time, and he starts exercising and eating healthy and swimming and running, and he starts helping other kids doing jujitsu, and it's really, really good. There's a 3-book series. It's excellent. And it got my kid into like, let's be able to do a pull up. And he was, Bronson, I'm going to tag you whenever he hits it, man. Cause he was like 2 inches away from chin to bar.
That's
pull
awesome.
Up, you know,
That's
and
awesome.
He'll get it before the end of the summer for sure.
Okay. What do you say to people who think that working out early for kids is not good for their health?
Well, I think, you know, if you do something in a bad way or use bad form, use too much weight or wrong movements, you know, you can hurt a kid doing anything, you know, you can get hurt anytime. So my philosophy with Henry is I'm not loading up his spine at all. You know, like he's growing, he's 5 foot tall and he's in third grade. Like he's growing fast. He's 115 pounds, got big,
Wonder
long,
where he gets that from.
goofy arms. And so we do pull-ups, we do ring rows, we do push-ups. I don't have him handling any weight yet other than just we do a barbell form deadlift, and it's super easy for him. It's less than half his body weight. Also, like some people like my third grader weighs 40 pounds. Like, well, my third grader weighs 115 pounds. And you know, so it's like less than half his body weight. He has to have pristine form, and he is into it, you know, and we go really, really easy progressions, not a ton of reps. He's never been sore yet from any of the workouts, but he's seeing progressions. You know, he's doing burpees, he hops on the rower and like stuff like that. Like I'm not going to max him out on back squats or anything like that, you know, or bench press. Like I won't have him. I don't know if I'll ever have him bench press unless he, I don't know, down the road at some point, maybe when he's in high school, but it's just not necessary. I'd rather him be able to do 20 amazing push-ups, you know, just, you know, chin to ground and good range, good posture. We do a lot of planking and things like that too.
Yeah, I haven't seen any real science that says anything bad about kids working out outside of extremes, obviously. Not getting rest. We talk about the sports aspect and kids playing one sport year round. That's an issue. That's a whole different conversation we can have. But from a general fitness perspective, the number of things that kids get out of doing physical activity and exercise and learning how to control their body, how to move their body, how to feel positions, right? The proprioception benefits and coordination and balance. And just the list goes on and on about the benefits, the mental benefits and the confidence and all that stuff. Like, if your kid's not doing something, number one, you start doing something to give them an example and then try to get them to come along, right? That's, you're not going to get them to do it if you're not doing it. So you got to do it yourself first.
Exactly. Gotta lead by example.
Yeah. What do you do with new people? So what's your philosophy? You know, you're coaching people, you work with groups of people. People have no experience, just trying to figure out, hey, how do I lose my 100 pounds? What does that process look like? How do people get started?
Yeah, the first step, I mentioned it earlier, that diagram of the black hole of weight loss doom. I'm like, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get over that. So I like to give people, I like to paint a picture of, okay, we're on a road and you're at point A, we're trying to get to point B, but there's a giant hole in the road. So we take off walking and you walk right into the hole. You crawl out, you go back to where you started, and you decide to grab a bike. So you grab a bike right into the same damn hole, right back down into it you go. Then you get a car right back into the hole. So this is what people do with their transformation, where in that black hole of weight loss doom, they start a new program, they get some initial results, life happens, that they fall into that hole in the road, they go back to where they started.
Right.
And they focus on the modality of, oh, I need to walk, I need to run, I need to get a new bike, I need to get a car, but they never address the hole in the road, the life happens moment. So I start there. I call it your transformation danger zones. The way we escape this is we have to identify, analyze, and prepare ahead for the things that throw us off track. So we start there. Awesome. So if it is like spring break's coming up.
Hold on, I got transformation danger zone. I like that.
Yeah. So, and this is a big part of what I'll be speaking on at KetoCon. It's not spoken about enough. I feel like it's
absolutely,
like if you go on spring break, and a lot of people blame the vacation. I don't even blame the vacation. I'm like, have as much fun as you want, but walk into a plan on the other side of the vacation. That's the danger zone, where it's 3 months until you get back to the gym, or
Right.
3 months until you get back to your clean eating. That's where you lose all the momentum and gain all the weight back.
Yeah.
So things like that, or work stress, anxiety from relationships. Just if you have, a partner that's not supportive at home, like that's a transformation danger zone. So what are the things that you keep running into that are that hole in the road? We got to build a bridge over that first, where nothing will work. So if we can solve that and at least be a little bit better prepared for it, then we can actually move forward basically with I felt people lose over 100 pounds with pretty much every single nutritional protocol, because we just solve these things that have been limiting them with their forward progress. And we get those out of the way, then we find then it's just the right tool for the right job at that point.
That's awesome. That's fantastic, man. I think that's, if anybody takes anything away from this conversation, I think that is what I would want people to focus on. We talked about,
that's the platform,
we talked
man.
about having a plan. We talked about that stuff, but thinking ahead, what are my triggers? What are the things that I struggle with? And okay, how do I mitigate those things so that they don't become that hole that I fall into every single time? I like it. I like it a lot.
Yep.
Awesome, man. You got anything else you want to, any words of wisdom, anything for people listening that are saying, hey, how do I do this? I want to be like Adam when I grow up. What do I need to do?
All right. So anybody that tunes in to like podcasts, or they watch YouTube videos, or they, there are a lot of people out there that, the term sharpening the saw, sharpening the axe, like that's out there. Like we're personally growing, we're investing in ourselves. That's super important. But a sharp axe does us no good if we never swing it, Bronson. Yeah. So implementation is the key. So I challenge people anytime I speak, anytime I get to guest on somebody's show, I tell them to grab their phone and set the alarm for 24 hours from now. And if there was one idea, one moment of inspiration, one thing that you wanted to research or learn more about, take action on that and implement within the next 24 hours before that alarm goes off. And a lot of times I get messages, they're like, dude, I forgot. And then the alarm went off and then I just did something and it was amazing. It worked.
Right. That's awesome.
So set the alarm and just let it happen. You'll probably forget to do anything, but then the alarm will go off, and then just do something. Maybe you reach out to Bronson. Maybe you check out my podcast. Maybe you learn a little bit about keto, or you grab your kid and you go down and do some push-ups. Like whatever the thing was for you, if you've listened this far into the conversation, there was probably something that's like, ooh, that's good. Implement in line with that over the next 24 hours, and then let me and Bronson know how it goes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. How can people find you? How will they let you know? Where are we at?
millionpoundmission.com. That's the hub. Also super active on Instagram. Instagram is in fact my jam, Million Pound Mission there. And I love to interact. Like whenever somebody follows me on Instagram, I just spoke about this at PodFest about initiating engagement. You'll like this, Bronson. So anytime somebody follows me on Instagram, I will message them directly. I'll send them a voice message saying, hey, this is Adam from Million Pound Mission podcast. I'll use their name so they know I'm talking to them and it is me. Mm-hmm. And I will say, hey, I just want to let you know there's a real person on this side of the equation. I love to interact. So if I can help out, let me know.
That's awesome.
And I get so many messages back like, you messaged me. Like I'm like they haven't made any sort of content or contact. I initiate the conversation.
That's awesome.
And I initiate the engagement. So bonus tip for those of you that want to grow your Instagram account, when somebody follows you, like initiate some engagement, initiate a conversation, let them know there's a real person, because we live in a world of bots and automation and, I've got to be able to scale, and my personality and my energy is unscalable. Like I just have to deliver it in every opportunity that I get, just like coming on your show here today. Like it's something that I take a lot of pride in. And that's something that, that's the real payoff for me, is that engagement and be able to connect with people.
That's fantastic, man. Appreciate it. All right, man. I appreciate the time. We will definitely catch up again. You're going to be at KetoCon. I'll be at KetoCon.
Yes.
I probably won't be speaking, but I'll be hanging around, and we'll definitely hang out. Cool.
You got to come and see me. I'm going to do stand-up comedy again at KetoCon. There's a bar called the Love Goat. It's a dive, and that I do stand up there at KetoCon. It's a KetoCon tradition.